Japanese geographical features have historically had the access of surrounding sea waters and wetlands which are suitable for fishing and for the cultivation of grains. This led them to develop diets centering the consumption of fish and rice. Over time, this became their culture and developed multiple traditions involving these diets. However, the 21st century has shown a detachment of those ideals. Hello, my name is Felipe Chinoshi.
I'm Rihanna Sot.
And I'm Dhruv Mayani, and the question being discussed today is to what extent is Japanese health being burdened by modern influences? Due to high demands and different priorities, foods such as chips, fries, and instant noodles have been affecting the Japanese diets. This is motivated by the convenience of today's world. As shown in this graph, between 1962 and 2016, rice, a staple food in Japan, has been steadily decreasing, while milk, dairy products, meats, and fats and oils have been increasing due to westernization.
Wow.
Some chemicals Some effects of westernization are more deadly than others, including the use of chemicals in food. A chemical named acrylamide is a carcinogen, which is also called, which defines as something that is cancerous. As according to the Journal of Food Additives and Contaminants, acrylamide is a proven associated with multiple kinds of cancers. This opens a door to many negative effects found in foods such as chips, fries, and instant noodles. One of the many negative effects of acrylamide was shown in a study based off of the micronutrients found in children's diets such as fried foods, seafoods, and snacks. This led to a higher BMI and obesity, which also not only affected children but also affected adults as well. A solution to this problem would be limiting Western impacts, as it would help the economy. Japanese people would achieve self-sufficiency due to its environment, and it would reintroduce staple foods in the tradition.
Japanese work culture is a rigorous mindset that strays from discipline and leads into great fatigue and malnutrition. This is not new, as it's been in Japanese culture for generations as a way to assure oneself of their role in society. As you can see in this graph, karoshi, the coined term for death by overwork in Japan, has a multiple deaths per year, most of them being strokes. This is to note because, according to this journal, the American Journal of Forensic Cardiology, diet can influence a range of cardiovascular risks, which is why when lessening said risks, it is aimed. However, this is exactly the opposite of what these workers are doing, as they are having their priorities set on their productivity rather than their health, therefore being more likely to be malnutrition. Another point to talk about is alcohol. Due to the high stress levels these workers are going through, they are more likely to drink. Higher risk individuals are more likely to be younger, employed, have bad eating, have poor mental health, and more likely to not seek aid. This is due to also to the stigma, which creates desperation and makes them stay in their situation no matter the toll it might take. Solution to this issue would be limiting work hours, since it would allow for workers to be able to apply that time into their own nutrition and also limit excess drinking.
Like other countries, Japan has rules and procedures restricting the entry of foreign food and drinks into their territory. They involve safety requirements, protection, and custom regulation, which become market barriers that potential importers need to overcome. The Journal of Japanese Studies states that Japanese health and safety standards do not require full information on additives on their packaging. And for the people that are trying to take their health into their own hands, this becomes a very hard task. In contrast, Japanese trading policies are very strict with imported goods that have synthetic and chemical additives. This shows that the restrictions that are imposed to improve the quality of their health. The journal also presented that as of 1983, a growing pressure from US caused the number of allowed imported additives to grow from 336 to 347. While this change doesn't seem to be that greatly impactful, the conflicts that the Western world causes on Japan is consistent, and which, when it relates to health, it can become very concerning. Another important topic is CSR, where it stands for the corporate social responsibility, where Japanese companies have added ways to establish communication which avoids confusion in nutrition and in the Japanese food industry. The journal also found that many Japanese companies publish their CSR ideals in their annual reports, and that a large percentage of their companies are encouraged in efforts to conserve energy and use more renewable energy. As a solution, Japan's model of corporation has been regarded as very society-friendly because of their governing features. If applied less passively with a government economic policy and a lifelong employment, will prove to be more effective.
This issue has many solutions, starting with, as Drew mentioned, limiting Western imports would allow for Japan to be able to tap into its self-sufficiency, and therefore, because of the geographical features, be able to reintroduce some of its traditional staple foods. Limited work hours, as previously mentioned, would allow for time to be able to be dedicated to one's own malnutrition, and be able to limit excess drinking and be put to looking for other coping mechanisms to deal with the workplace stress. CSR would allow being applied more rigorously and being required for companies to use, would allow for Japanese individuals to be able to rely on this as a mechanism to make sure that they know what it is that they are consuming. However, this topic does have limitations. Other possible main factors that affect this lifestyle, such as exercise, might have been overlooked due to the nature of the focus today. Okay. Self-reported studies are more likely to be fallacious since it's self-reported, and this topic can be sensitive to many, so they might have relied on not being truthful. Self-effective limiting imports would be annealing the population and stagnating the economy. However, this can be easily overridden, as when mentioning limiting Western imports, we mean to be more self-sufficient rather than having a complete blockade of Western influences. And in that case, it would allow for Japan to keep on its economic flow with the Western world, while Japanese consumers being more consciously aware of what they are eating, especially in times of high stress and as the workplace does demand. These are our sources. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Just scoot together. Take one step back. Perfect. All right, thank you. I don't remember what side we're supposed to start on, so Drew, we're gonna start with you. Drew, can you give one specific way your thinking changed as a result of Miranda's findings?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Think of one way that your thinking changed about all this based on what Miranda, her IRR.
Based off of food safety, it changed the way I thought about my perspective of westernization, as it affected the way of which foods are being imported. Due to food safety, we're trying to see that we're trying to make sure that the foods that are being imported are healthy for the population, as we don't want chemicals in the foods such as acrylamide that are dangerous and can have negative impacts on the Japanese population.
All right, thanks. Miranda. Reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your understanding of the problem?
That would be Drew's, because Drew's work was based on Westernization, which is the main focus of our work presentation. Due to work culture, it would demand for individuals to look for food sources in quicker places, meaning that Westernization, which gives that convenience, they would aim to eat those foods. And aiming and looking at work culture would allow for individuals, for us to be able to see why individuals are choosing these foods and what is the thought process and how to stop it.
All right, and Felipe. Describe an argument from one of your peers' individual reports that makes you think differently about your team's solution.
An argument that makes me think differently from our team solution will be definitely Drew's with his Westernization topic. Just like the Western world has they prioritized convenience and having very quick procedures, the topic of Westernization would change the solution the most, since it would change the regulations and procedures that Japan have to take to consider those factors.